domestic violence and sexual assault. Unfortunately, our nation still lags in providing fundamental safeguards for women and girls against violence. In 1994, Congress included the right to sue one's attacker in VAWA. But when a woman named Christy Broncala tried to exercise that right, the Supreme Court dismissed her case and deemed the provision unconstitutional. Women must be in the Constitution to enforce their rights, to sue to protect themselves. Unfortunately, we're seeing the effects of gender inequality during the pandemic, with both more reports of domestic violence, greater wage and unemployment disparities between men and women. An estimated 1 million more women than men have lost their jobs since the COVID pandemic was declared a year ago. And the biggest impact of the virus has been on the vast majority of essential workers, most of whom are women, and disproportionately the number of Black women and Latinas, nearly all of whom have the majority of caregiving responsibilities. These trends, along with other tragic realities, make constitutional rights for women more urgent than ever. By ending sex discrimination and cementing equality of rights under the law and the Constitution, we can finally make good on a 100-year-old promise. It's time to spell out equality in the Constitution with 3 words, ERA, equality has no limit. I thank my colleague, Jackie Spear, our leader, our speaker, the Women's Caucus, Jerry Nadler, and everyone here today. And I now represent the co-chair of the DWC, Britta Lawrence.
I want to thank my co-chair, Jackie Spears, for her leadership, and my committee chair, Ms. Maloney, for all your hard work. We're here during Women's History Month to reaffirm our commitment for doing better to support our women and girls. I want to say how incredibly proud I am to be on the floor today to pass the Equal Rights Amendment resolution to remove this time limit. Can we really look our daughters and our sisters and our mothers and our nieces in the face and say, I'm sorry, there's a time to you getting equality in America? No, I'm not going to have that conversation. For far too long, women in the United States have been denied equality. And this pandemic has only worsened that inequality, especially for women of color. We have borne the brunt of this pandemic, and we have a system in America that so often suppress and also do not support women. We have heard so many people during Women's History Month reconfirm their commitment to do better in supporting women and girls. This is how we do it, by fighting for ERA, by fighting sex discrimination, making gender equality the law of the land. It's unacceptable that we are having this conversation or discussion in 2021, but one thing about women, we will continue to fight. We will not back down. We know that the soul and the moral of this country rests on the shoulders of women like it has for centuries, and I'm proud to stand today with the women of the Women's Caucus to make a difference. 38 states have now ratified ERA. This is a historic time for our country, and Congress decides what's next. And I am so proud of that. And I want to turn it over to my other co-chair, and that is Ms. Franco from Florida.
Thank you. Honored to be with my colleagues here. I pose this question. What do the following women have in common? Teacher, Melissa Filowski, who saved 19 children during the massacre at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. Senator Tammy Duckworth, who lost both her legs in a combat mission in Iraq. Alice Augusta Ball, a chemist who revolutionized the treatment for leprosy. Joe Harjo, the first Native American poet laureate. Dolores Herta, civil rights activist. The majority of essential workers as we combat COVID, including nearly 9 out of 10 nurses and 2/3 of the workers at grocery store checkout and fast food counters. What do they have in common? No matter the sacrifice or contribution to society, if you are a woman or a girl in the United States of America, you are not guaranteed equality under the law. It took women 144 years from the birth of our nation to get the right to vote, even longer for women of color. It took 197 years to gain the legal right to an abortion, 198 years to be able to buy a home in our own name. And now, after 245 years have passed since the birth of our nation, isn't it time to pass the Equal Rights Amendment? The United States House of Representatives took an important step forward today. I applaud everybody who helped make that happen, and I urge the United States Senate to join us. And I yield back.
Thank you. Let me just conclude by saying this. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Veronica. I thought
I know we're running out of time, and I will be very succinct. I want to recognize the incredible powerhouse of women that I have the privilege to serve with in the Democratic Women's Caucus, and we have these amazing women leading the way, and I'm just so humbled to be standing beside them and working beside them. I want to add just a couple of details to the context that my colleagues have provided you. There are structures in place that are deliberately placed there to prevent women from achieving everything that we can. There is not just discrimination against us because of our gender, but because we have babies. There's pregnancy discrimination. We have unequal pay. And then when it's time to re-enter the workforce after raising families or being caregivers to family members, we face additional obstacles and hardships along the way. And it is because we are not an equal member of society in the same way that men are. And I will say that minority women suffer even greater disparities. Latina women, as an example, earn 53 cents on the dollar for every dollar that a white man earns in America. 53 cents on the dollar. So it should not be a surprise why minority women, especially Black and brown women in America, are often spiral into poverty more quickly. They have more barriers to healthcare and to education. And so the work that our foremothers and our colleagues did to get us to that moment, this moment right now, our daughters, our granddaughters, the women that we work with every single day, your mothers, your sisters, we will finally, at the end of this journey, once this becomes law, we will finally achieve the equality that we deserve. Thank you so much, Madam Chair.
Let me just close with this. The pandemic has created a situation where 2.3 million women have lost their jobs permanently. Thousands and thousands of childcare slots have been lost. It is time for us to stop with the excuses. It is time for us to do what's right in this country and make sure that women are in the Constitution of the United States. We implore our Senate colleagues to do the right thing. We represent 53% of the population. It's time to just make us equal under the law. Thank you. There's no questions allowed in here. That's what I was told. Sorry. I can talk to you outside of the. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you all.